Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy?
What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm coming to you from Egypt. I'm here with Sean McCorkle. Greg Wilson is joining us today. Don Fry should be here. We got Justin James. We got a great show. We have actually a great show. Justin's coming off a huge win and made a huge inspiring speech. And things are good. Things are actually really good. And Andy Wynn is joining us as well. We got a stacked show. Can you see me? Can you hear me, Sean?
I can hear you, but I don't know what's not working. Something isn't working.
All right. Well, as long as you can hear me, that's cool. I'm talking to you from Egypt. I've been the last couple days. Last 2 weeks. I've been in South Africa. Then we were in Doha 2 days ago, and then I had a show in Egypt tonight. Of course, Egypt was like I thought Doha was going to be the hard show because I'm in Qatar, and I look at the crowd, and I would say, 75% of the crowd was in like the robes and what they wear in their head, whatever. I don't know what's that called? The red that they look like Saudi princes. And then some of the women were covered head to toe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I don't know what Saudi people cover their heads with.
So the women were covered head to toe, and I'm like, Russell, how do I know if they're laughing? Not all the women, just some of the women, but like the whole front row, they were wearing like the black, and like just covered. And Russell's like, well, you could see in their eyes if they're laughing. I'm like, great, right? So I go on stage, and they're laughing, and you could see their whole bodies are moving back and forth. It was pretty damn awesome. But then at the end, they wanted a picture with me, right? And they want a picture with Russell. He has like a big meet and greet. And I was like, sure. I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And then they said, no, they're not allowed to have a picture with another man. And I was like, well, they said they can get in big trouble. But I'm like, well, how is anyone going to know? It's like you. I mean, you're covered. They're like, oh, they'll know. Which, like, if you can tell who that person is covered head to toe, you should work for the CIA or like the FBI or something.
You could have just had somebody dress up like that, take one picture and email it to all of them and say it's them. Who would know the difference? You know what I mean?
Dude, it was crazy. And and Russell told me, he's like, when you meet somebody in Qatar or in Saudi Arabia, don't compliment them, because whatever you compliment, they'll give you. So if you're like, hey, nice watch, they'll just give you their watch. And you're like, no, I don't want it. They'll take it. You have to take it. You must take it, my friend. I'm like, So the joke I made, I'm like, well, that was bad because I told the guy, hey, your wife is beautiful. And he was like, take her, please. I have 3 more, because they're allowed to have 4 wives out here.
That's just what every man needs.
Are you okay? You seem like you're in a bad mood. Everything all right?
No, I'm not good, but it's all good. It's all right.
Well,
it's been a rough couple of weeks.
Oh, hopefully I'll cheer you up. So yeah, but then tonight was the hardest show we had because we were in Egypt and it was a brand new like stadium they built, and I was the first performer ever on it, but not even like the first comedian, first performer. So the echo was like, they didn't have the sound up. So like I'm on stage and I hear just echo. And I'm just like, oh no, because there's thousands of people here. And then I was like, can you guys hear me? And the woman's like, all we hear is echo. And I'm like, so finally I just put the mic in the stand and I'm like, I just started screaming my act to thousands of people. And then the people in the back were like, we can't hear you. but then finally I got the mic situated because that was like, and then the guy who's taking video, there's a guy traveling with us who's like recording with us, and he's a really nice guy, but he talks to himself a lot, and he's always making jokes to himself, and I'm pretty sure he's like far on the spectrum, like pretty far. He's an Asian dude, and he like fell off the stage while he was recording us. So he was backing up, and and then our DJ, who's like awesome, he's got like a virus where he just keeps taking shits now. He's got some kind of flu. So he's taking shits like 7 times a day, like an hour. So it was so I had an echo, I had the DJ that was like, taking shits, and I had a guy falling off the stage. Sean,
are they fucking nuts in Egypt too, like they are in Qatar? Or are they more normal?
Way more normal. I mean, not normal, but like way less religious. But I mean, the people in Qatar were really nice. I mean, like beyond nice. They're just super.
So can you make like your pussy jokes and stuff like that in places like that, or do you have to keep it completely clean?
They told me to feel out the crowd, which is like the best words you could hear as a comic is see what they're laughing at, because they were laughing at all the dirty stuff. Like they wanted the dirty stuff. But you can't make any religion joke, even if it's like Christian, like church or Jewish. Even if it's not their religion, they'll think that's like disrespectful. So there was no religious joke at all.
I think it's funny that Dubai. They think as long as they're not in Dubai, they can go do whatever they want in any other country, and it's not a sin. Or they can have nightclubs and alcohol and cocaine and everything there for people, but as long as they don't participate that much, it's fine. But I've talked to several Iraqis, Palestinians, Muslims of all different things. I asked them if any of the royal ruling people in any of those countries follow any of the rules. They said, "Do your presidents follow your laws?" And I was like, "No." They said it's the same thing. They're all full of shit. They all have orgies. They do cocaine. They do all that stuff, and we all know it. But they'll have you executed if you accidentally use Allah's name in vain. So
yeah, I mean, it was
pretty much like yes.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff of like, they said, don't mention drugs because they'll think you're on drugs,
Right.
So that, and then there was definitely like a language barrier. Like they said, like, don't mention, my ex used to love giving head because they'll think they mean like an actual head.
Right.
Which
is normal over there. So it might even work better over there.
So Sean, are you okay? You want to vent at all? Because I feel like I'm in a good mood, and you're.
No, I'm good, man. It's been a rough couple of weeks, man. It's just life, so it's what it is.
Well, hang in there. I mean, Russell, by the way, is like he's always on, but he's hilarious. Sometimes people are always on and they're just not funny, but he's just like he's making me laugh like all day long. Like all day long, I'm just like it's just one boom, 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 and I mean, this one girl was like. She's like something where like she's like, hey, like she had nice legs, and we were backstage, and Russell's like, hey, nice legs, like, what time do they open? I mean, just like says like the craziest. Yeah, he's been making me laugh. Like he was on stage and he was doing crowd work, and he was like, oh, what's your name? And the guy was like Pre-Laden, and he was like Pre-Laden. Isn't that called September 10th?
Right, that's what I would have said. Exactly.
And then
not to interrupt you, I do have something I want to vent about when you're done, though, that you'll find pretty funny, but go ahead.
And then there was something where like Russell was talking to someone in like the crowd, and it was just super fun. I mean, like we were in Egypt today, and he's like, oh, talking to the person. He's like, oh, are you Egyptian? And she's like, somewhat. And he's like, I think you're in denial. Like they're like kind of like funny, like I mean, just the things he thinks about, like off the top. I mean, he's definitely, and I obviously maybe I'm a little biased because I'm on tour with him, but like his sets where he doesn't think he's doing well are better than everyone else's like best sets. Like it's just boom, 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 and the cool part is he's like telling me he's like, 'cause some comments like you get these headliners or you open up for a big name and they're like, and he's like, make me work. He's like, blow me up the stage. Like he's basically like telling me like, don't hold back anything, which is awesome because a lot of times
he should start doing his jokes and acts. do his first 25 minutes of jokes when you go out and say good luck with that as he walks back out.
Well, I don't do any crowd work. I mean, that's the thing. I don't do any crowd work because I know he's going to do crowd work, and his crowd work is like second to none. So Greg Wilson said he's not going to make it. He just said he was going to make it, but now he's not going to make it. And then Don,
Plus, he's not going to make the podcast.
no. But yeah, so that was cool. I was actually telling this guy though, the one time I felt bad for the DJ because the DJ's got the shits. The one time I had the shits, like I'm on stage in Canada and I'm like, uh-oh, like you ever fart and it's not a fart? You're like, uh-oh. Well, that's basically what happened. So of course I'm wearing my white pants. And I'm doing it. So I had to back up to like the wall and just do my act with my fucking ass to the wall. And then I moonwalked off the stage, basically. I'm not going to turn around. I mean, luckily, in hindsight, there was actually no shit stain, but I didn't want to take that chance,
In hindsight, if you'd have turned around, you probably would have got the biggest laugh of the night and walked off like that. They'd have cracked up. That would have been genius.
I'll tell you what, though, I was making fun of the women here because, a lot of them are, they wear the burqas, but their lips, they all have lip fillers. Not all of them, but enough where it's beyond noticeable. I don't know what the Kardashians did to these people, but because they're covered, it's that much more noticeable. So all you see is like lips walking, And I even said on stage, I'm like, ladies, hey, relax with the lip fillers. And the place went fucking, and I was like, literally, because you're covered head to toe, it looks like you're like a walking bumper. Like I was like, is this where all the oil is? I just went off for 5 minutes and people were crying. And then like I even said, I made a Muslim woman wet, and then fucking, it's been fun. It's been really, really fun. And then the guys were all wearing like the white robes. Like there was like half the crowd, and I was like, you guys all wore the same thing today.
Right.
I go, if any one of you commits a crime, you'll be fine. Because they'll say, what was he wearing? It was like,
right.
But by the way, in South Africa, for some odd reason in Cape Town at noon, they let off guns in the air. Like I have no idea. It's like a custom because noon came and all of a sudden you hear, boom. And me and my friend get down and we're like, oh no, that just means it's noon in South Africa. I'm like, they might want to tell people that because I don't know why that became the custom to just shoot your fucking guns in the air.
Probably when they're shooting the natives trying to take back their farms. That's what I would get.
So what were you going to say? What was your rant?
Oh, no, I just got a quick funny story. Not funny story for you. So I don't brag about helping people out. I help out more people than have ever helped me times 100, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a homeless shelter here in town that I have given tens of thousands of dollars to over the years. I feel bad for homeless people because most of them aren't alcoholics and drug addicts. They're mentally ill, or if they are drug addicts and alcoholics, they're mentally ill, right? So just always felt bad for them. I was always raised in church. Every Christmas Eve, I go down and hand them out cash, food, gift cards, thousands of dollars, right? Never tell anybody that. So they reach out, hey, they're really struggling with the new migrants coming in. Everybody's homeless, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, it's not like New York where they're putting them in 5-star hotels on our dime. Yeah. So, of course, they reach out to someone who's already giving them money all the time. So I'm like, okay, well, let me give someone else some money. So I have an idea. There's that site that hates Brendan Schaub, that Reddit site has like 200,000 members, right? So I come up with a genius idea for a T-shirt about Brendan Schaub.
Right.
Know? I float the idea on that site for its 200,000 members. Hey, here's the deal. They call themselves the Homeless Cats, which is ironic, right?
Yeah.
I said, I have a homeless shelter here in town that needs money. If I printed T-shirts, gave $500 to the best design, whoever it was, marked them up $1.50 from what I paid and provided receipts, and we could sell 3,000 or 4,000 shirts, and then I'll provide a receipt that I donated the thing. Would anybody be interested? If not, it's cool. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to come up with something. The shirts are going to be $9.50 is what the shirt's going to be. I know a guy who said he would do them at cost, like print the shirts at cost,
Yeah.
Buddy of mine. So $9.50 for a T-shirt that says Brendan Schaub sucks, but not in that way, like one of the, something funny. I get hit with hundreds of nice trying to scam us, you piece of shit. You think you're going to monetize this site. You think blah, blah, blah. You're not the first one to try to make money on merch, all this and that. And I'm like, dude, did you guys not read? I'll give $500 to the best design. I'm out $500 to start with.
Yeah.
Where can you get a shirt printed for $9? Like where? You know what I mean? Or whatever. And I said I would give $500 to the funniest joke. I'm out 500. I said I would provide, I'll prepay the homeless shelter, you know what I mean? With a receipt, for it. I just was trying to come up with an idea. If you guys don't want to do it, it's cool. Hours and hours of people DMing me, you're a fucking piece of shit. You this, you that, you're just like Shab, this and that. And I'm like, what are you idiots not understanding? Then I realized Shab's been right about them guys all along. They're a bunch of fucking worthless incels that do nothing, but I thought they just didn't like Shab. They just don't like anybody, right. Or whatever. I didn't try to force it, didn't design a shirt, didn't anything. Just, hey, I think it'd be funny. Like, why don't you just ask for money on a GoFundMe? I was like, because someone tried to start a GoFundMe for me to fix my back, and I asked them to take it down. It happened twice. I don't need people paying my bills. I won't accept people paying my bills. Dana White offered to fix my back, to pay for it. I said, I'm sorry, I can't take your money. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I don't, I'm not going to do it, when I wanted to go to his doctor that he sent me to. He didn't say it, but he said, if you need help paying for it, I said, I'm good,
right.
Or whatever. I don't take money from people. I don't ask. I'm not going to. So I figured if you can buy a shirt that makes fun of Brandon Shaw for $9 and raise money, then they start in, oh, you're a fucking dog breeder. You're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. Then I get into trying to explain, I sell dogs for $5,000 to $10,000 a piece. No one who's paying for $10,000 for a dog is going to a shelter and picking one up instead.
Right.
No one that pays $10,000 is giving that dog to a shelter after they buy it. These are like shelter dogs. I've used them my whole life. I've sold a total of under 30 puppies in 5 years. That's how often I do it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And I still am in contact with every single person I sold them to, and they still have the dogs. One died because it ate some kind of chocolate or poison, but that's the only one that died of all of them. I still keep track. If I want to make money, I can make $300,000 a year breeding these dogs. I don't want to go to puppy mill. I don't do it.
Are you getting enough sleep?
I don't have anything.
You get enough sleep, Sean?
No, I haven't slept. I've slept maybe 8 hours out of the last 110 probably. So,
all right.
Yeah. So I'm not feeling great, but anyway, it's just been one thing after another, dude. And then you get like people hitting you up, like knowing you're having a hard time. They're like, hey man, sorry to bother you. Can I borrow some money? You know what I mean? Or whatever like that. Like, I know you're having a hard time right now. Could you loan me a couple grand? Oh. And I'm like, well, that would make you the 15th person that's asked me this week. 14 of the 15 have never paid me a dime back, or whatever. Like, I have people that owe me $30,000 asking for loans that have taken 2 to 3 to 4 at a time and never paid me back, asking for loans as if I just have. Anyway, so it's not been a good couple of weweeks. So, and when you're coming off hundreds of Percocets a week and refuse to take anything for it, you feel like shit too. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I mean, I told you that time that I didn't have my medication on the cruise for 5 days. I couldn't sleep. I was waking up in sweats, freezing, and my body was going. I don't even know how you're doing it, but hang in there, man, because you're the funniest human being I know. So
not today, I'm
not. Meanwhile, so this woman I met, one of like Russell's friends, cousin, super sweet. Like, she's like, hey, she's backstage with us, and I'm like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, I'm a healer, right? She's like, I could heal your ankle for you. But so I think she's, full of shit. Like, okay, sure you can, She's like, so she starts going like putting her hands around my foot and just doing some weird, like, meanwhile, I'm in the cast, and all of a sudden, I'm not kidding, my foot started tingling, like burning. Like, she had some type of powers. I don't know how she did this. My ankle didn't feel much better afterwards. She didn't actually heal anything, but I definitely felt it. Like, I'm like, that is crazy. Whatever. She's like, yeah, I had to get accepted to this group and yada, yada. So then somebody was telling me,
when they take your cast off and find some matches down your cast, that's really going to make you feel stupid. But
so then she tells me, like, then she leaves the room, and someone's like, yeah, she's going through a tough breakup, and I guess her boyfriend was like physically abusive, or her husband. So I'm like, well, it's a good thing.
I don't know what the problem is with that. If you could heal yourself every time you beat you up.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I go, it's a good thing she's a healer, right? And then everyone just started busting out laughing, but I'm like, that's totally something McCorkle would say. But yeah.
I got one for you. I went to a chiropractor one time who does Eastern medicine, and I explained to him what was wrong with my back, and he's supposed to be the best. His name is Dr. Bax, like pretty much chose his career when he was born, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I go to him. He convinces me he can do it by this and that and supplementations. Then he starts putting bottles of herbal supplements next to my back and asking me if I feel anything. And I'm like, by putting it close to my back of the bottle? And he's like, yeah, here, push your leg against that. Now watch when this bottle's close, how much stronger you are. And he's faking the whole thing. And I said, dude, please tell me you're joking that you think I'm going to believe putting a pill close to my back is going to make it better. And I was like, I'm paying for this appointment. And he was like, well, I mean, it's been proven you don't even have to take the supplements just as long as you carry them around in your pocket. I was like, all right, like just got up and walked out. Didn't even leave him a review online. I should have told people what to expect, but like it was like he's afraid to adjust me because he might hurt my back. So he'll just put a bottle of pills next to it.
Dude,
Like,
some of these jobs, like, well, she actually I felt something, and I'm not kidding, but I'm not sure. But some of these jobs, like life coach, healers, like, I don't think you need like degrees for these things. I think you just need. Great. So we have an Asian girl driving on a podcast. Like, what could go wrong here? Like, that's exactly what you want to see is an Asian girl. Like, please don't get into an accident, Andy. Okay.
I am parked.
Now
It's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock in the East Coast time. This is when I'm training, so the gym would be way too loud.
So you're here with me and Sean McCorkle. So this girl, her name is the Crazian because she's the crazy Asian. And Sean, she's a smoking hot girl. I think you still have the same husband or boyfriend, the Marine guy that I met, or is that long gone?
Yeah, we've been broken up for like over 2 years.
Oh, what happened there?
He's a fucking Marine.
So was there like cheating involved or?
No, I didn't cheat on him. He didn't cheat on me. Not that I know of. I know I didn't cheat on him, but that guy was crazy. He was super insecure and yeah, that's about it. I don't want to go into it.
Got it. So Andy, Sean, is fighting in Calgary. This girl fights everything. She fights bare knuckle boxing. She does Muay Thai fights. She does karate fights. She does MMA fights. She's she's like 60 years old, right? You would never know. she's got a daughter who's probably she's 20. How old is your daughter?
I don't have a daughter. I have a son.
How old is your son?
20.
20. I would never know it. She's all tatted up. She's got hot tattoos, and like her calendars are all like her, just like butt naked with like steam in the right places, so you can't see certain things. Andy, Sean's depressed right now, so we have to cheer Sean
up.
Yeah. Sean's having a rough time. So Andy, who are you fighting in Canada? What's going on?
I am fighting a girl named Kaina Sisson.
Okay.
She's also 41 years old. We are not 60. She's 41. I'm 41. So I'm kind of glad about that. I'm getting tired of fighting all these 20-year-olds, man. I got to keep my cardio up. I'm keeping up with them. That's luckily I have. But yeah, it's kind of nice to fight somebody my age. See how the masters do it.
But you're in every fight, even fights that you don't win. It's always close. You're always throwing thousands of punches.
Oh yeah, my record does not define me, dude. Like that. So many robberies on that fight. It sucks.
No, your fights are very close. Now, did you join? Are you still in South Carolina?
I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina right now. So yes.
Nice. And how's that going?
It's colder here. It's not as cold as Calgary, but it's cold today.
Got it. And then
where are you at? Are you at a hotel like for a porn?
I am in a hotel right now. I am in Egypt. Yes, I'm on a world tour. I'm opening for Russell Peters. I'm in Cairo, Egypt. I was in Doha 2 days ago. I had 3 shows in South Africa last week. Next week, I'm in Saudi Arabia on Saturday, and then India next week. So
damn, I should be interviewing you. I should be special.
No. I got to interview you. She's one of my favorite people, Sean, and she's hot. Are you single now, or you're always in a relationship? In a relationship?
I'm in a relationship. Yes.
Yes. Who's the guy?
His name is Troy Coons. He lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we've only been dating for 5 months. So it was like the money, like the honeymoon phase. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Now, a white guy. You always take crazy white guys. Is this a white?
He's white mixed with Italian.
White and Italian. Okay, better. I'm not better.
So he's a really crazy white guy.
Yeah. By the way, so when I was in South Africa last week, Sean, they were like, they had a sign saying, keep your windows closed because monkeys come into your room and they go through your bags and steal your stuff. And then some woman said the monkeys got in her bag and started sniffing her deodorant. Like she walked into them, like, I'm like, if I would have walked into monkeys, like using my deodorant, I'd be like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I think I could probably like, it's not.
You better pull up your phone and like film that.
Yes. And then we went on a safari and they said, don't look lions in the eye because the lions sit there and try to mad dog you while you're on the safari. And they're like, and then they take that as like a threat. Yeah, don't look mad. Yeah. And then there was the elephants and the flamingos were hanging out because they always drop food and the flamingos eat it. So things I'm learning, which is pretty cool. Now, did you watch
Adam, if they told me not to look a lion in the eye, I would have no choice but to, because there's nothing inside of me that will allow me to back down. Like, I've been at the zoo before and a gorilla kept staring at me. I just kept staring back at it. I was like, get over the pit and let's see what happens. You know what I mean?
Really? That gorilla would have killed you.
I know, but I wouldn't have backed down from it. Like, I wouldn't, like, if I was in the wild, if a gorilla wants to fight, we'll see what happens, you know?
Dude, we have a bodyguard that's like your size, Sean. The guy's like, looks just like you back when you were on roids, right? And he
last week.
And he's crazy. Like, they were like, don't feed the baboons. So the guy comes over and puts a bunch of food in his hand and goes like this. And the baboons all walk over and take food out of his hand and eat it. So then I was like, oh, I got to do that too. It was actually pretty cool. Now, Andy, did you watch the fights last week?
I did. I watched some.
Sean, you watch them?
Not a single one.
All right, good. So we're going to talk about the MMA fights that went on last week. All right. Is it Ilya Tapora? He beat Volkanovski. So the whole week, Sean, Volkanovski is making these videos where he's an old man. And they were really funny. Like, he dresses as an old man. He's reading the paper. He's like sweeping.
I liked it because I'm old and I get it.
100% hilarious, right? And his whole team are all old men, right? And then during the press conference, he starts sleeping while the guy's talking shit, which all would have been great, except that he fought like an old man. It was actually, that was what ruined the whole thing. Maybe like if he would have came out there, dude, the whole fight, I'm watching this fight. He's circling, right? He's circling to his left, and the guy has an overhand right. And I'm just, the whole time I'm looking at my buddy going, he's gonna get knocked out with the right hand. I'm like, it's only a matter of time. He's gonna get knocked out with the right. I'm like, he's walking into a right. And then, boom, gets caught with the right hand, fight's over. So depressing. What were your thoughts on that fight, Andy?
It was sad. I wanted the old man to win.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it was beyond sad. It was brutal. Now, did you think he fought well, Volkanovski, or did he looked old, right?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if that jinxed him, the video skip, but I mean, gosh, maybe I shouldn't be doing that then.
What, are you making an old female videos?
Not now. Definitely not now.
Yeah, don't do it then either. So that happened there. And then, all right. So then Robert Whittaker fought Costa, right? Paulo Costa and Sean. So Whittaker, it was actually a really close fight. Like, it could have went either way. But the first round, Paulo Costa throws a spinning wheel kick, almost ends it with like 10 seconds left. But for some odd reason, the judges still gave Whittaker that round. So it was a split decision, and Whittaker won. But one guy had it 30-27. And I don't know about you, but I was so angry at that. I'm like, no, fuck that. And then you almost like want Costa to win because of there was no way.
Because of that nonsense. Yeah.
How do you give him the first round, Whittaker?
I don't know.
I know I was taking open bets that Costa wouldn't show or fight, and nobody would take it. I was given 3-1 odds that he would not fight Saturday night. And nobody I know would.
You were betting and not watching?
Yeah, well, he wouldn't show because he would pull out because he doesn't want to actually fight. Costa just wants to be famous. So he may have wanted to fight a long time ago, but he just wants to be famous now. So I was taking all bets he would not show or would bail out or whatever. I would have watched him. I thought he was going to fight, but I thought he wouldn't. So But no, MMA judges are rigging fights, man. It's absolutely 100% they're rigging them and they're betting on them, just like boxing. And that's when you're getting weird decisions. Nobody's that bad at judging fights where you're constantly getting split decisions, but the split decision pay is 15-1. Like how ironic that that's the highest paying outcome. It's like when Triple G fought
I didn't know it was 15 to 1.
I'm not sure it was, but it's something crazy like that a split decision for, Whitaker. And then you've got like when Triple G boxed somebody, Pacquiao, so I can't remember who.
Canelo.
There was a draw when Triple G won 11 of the 12 rounds. There was a draw, but the draw paid like 50-1 or something crazy. And that's what they came up with. Like, oh, that's amazing. You three judges just so happened to come up with a draw. Like
I think it was Canelo that fight. Yeah, and then also, so Costa also has these guys are going to Turkey and they're getting like hair implants, right? Or like their hair. But it used to be if you had a hair transplant, you didn't want everyone to know it. But I guess maybe they're getting free transplants because they're all posting videos of them. But for some reason, when you sweat, you look bald. So that's all people kept looking at was the guys and people are commenting. I don't know. I say if and when I go bald, I'm not getting a hair transplant. Does that turn you?
Shave it off.
Shave it off, right, Andy?
Just shave it off.
Yes. Yeah. You seem like a.
There's no point of holding on. No, just shave it off.
100%. So, and then Ian Gary, right? So he's the guy Sean everyone was calling a cuck because he took his wife's ex-husband's name, and then he lives with him allegedly, and he's the chef, and then she wrote a book called like WAG on how to pick up an athlete. Anyway, so he fights Neal, right? Jeff Neal. And it was a pretty close fight, but Ian Gary won. But the whole time they kept panning to his wife. Like
that's like Taylor Swift.
Yes. What they know everyone's calling him a cuck. They know she's getting ridiculous. Like she did nothing. Except for writing that stupid book that she wrote. But they kept panning to her. Like it was like
it's like Taylor Swift for the UFC.
Right, but it's not Taylor Swift, and no one knows who she was, and no one likes her music. It made no sense.
I knew about the book thing. I knew about she wrote the book about that.
Yeah. So that was strange. Oh, and by the way, so Mark Zuckerberg had front row tickets, right? So Mark Zuckerberg cornered Volkanovski, like literally cornered him.
Well, there's your answer.
They didn't trust him with anything. They did not give him his sandals. They didn't give him anything. He was trying to have his hand out. They did not. They passed. Yeah, they gave it all to Craig Jones. They did not give him anything.
Well, I don't think you should be allowed to cosplay UFC trainer. It just seems like he bought his way into this. And
no shit.
It's like, come on. I mean, I could see if it was like Nelson Mandela or somebody that you're giving somebody, let someone corner you that someone's Make-A-Wish or a cop that took a bullet for somebody.
Make-A-Wish would be better. Yeah, definitely.
But letting Zuckerberg...
I'm scared to even post it because they might put it down from Facebook.
Yeah.
I might get flagged.
Right. Yeah, but that was annoying.
At least use somebody with a history of violence like O.J. Simpson or somebody, you know what I mean? Like somebody who has history of...
Yeah. That was weird. And then Henry Cejudo lost, which that kind of sucked. He actually won the first round against Merab. He hurt him in the first. He landed like a weird overhand, and then Merab just dominated him the second one, had him in a choke, and started smiling at Zuckerberg and talking to Zuckerberg during the fight. And
he said he was excited and didn't want to finish the fight because he was amazed that Zuckerberg was right there or something like that.
Right.
He's a real cuck.
Got that right.
Yeah, no, you're. So then that was I felt bad for Henry, because he retired in his prime, and then came back, and has been 0-2 since the comeback, and I mean, I can't blame the guy for retiring though because he started wrestling when he was 5. He won the Olympics. He never had any kind of dating life. Never had a social life, never went to college, went right to pro fighting, and he just kind of got burned out and then missed it. Probably didn't make as much money as he should have, and now he's back and he's 36 and his cardio is just not where it was when he was 32. But also he stopped wrestling. He got taken down, Sean, like 4 times by Merab, which, I mean, this dude's an Olympic gold medalist and didn't take a shot. I mean, he took 1 shot. He went like he hit a sweet duck under. But Andy, what are your thoughts on that fight?
I was walking in and out of the bathroom on that one, so I didn't really see that one much. Sorry.
You taking a shit or piss?
I was probably peeing a lot.
Oh, okay. That's everyone wants to know. And then what's her name lost her fight, which I thought she won. I actually thought Mackenzie Dern beat Lemos in this fight. And
did she fight again? Didn't she just fight last month? Am I crazy?
No, she did.
She just fought.
Yeah, and she looked terrible, but for some reason, but she got rocked. She got rocked hard in the second round, and I thought she won the first and the third. There was a shot where her ass, like it was probably the nicest ass shot in the history of MMA.
It was like a perfect ass. I mean, perfect heart.
Yeah, so that, like, I mean, she should have won just for that. And then by the way, so Sean, this guy Tafa, right? So he fought this guy De Lima, and he pulled out like the day before. He's a heavyweight, so they let his brother fight for him. Like his brother, like was just there at the weigh-ins, and they're like, "Oh, he could fight. He's also in the UFC," and he got the shit beaten out of him. Like, I'm not really sure why they let their brother fight on 24-hour notice.
They knew about that. They had to know about that. And he made weight. Come on, they knew about that.
He's a heavyweight, though. Wasn't he a heavyweight?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to miss weight as a heavyweight, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess
it would have been a great story if he won, but he got murdered, Sean. I was like, maybe he could tag in his brother. The guy had no ground game, like none. No. Oh, and then by the way, also what bothered me was Ian Gary, right? Fought Jeff Neal. Now, Ian Gary made a t-shirt with Jeff Neal's mugshot on it, like his mugshot, because he got arrested for a DUI. So there was like bad blood going in this fight. Every time one of them landed a punch, they would high five. Like every time anyone landed a decent shot, they were like, and to the point where Rogan and Bisping were like, like enough of that. Like even they were like, enough of the high fives. I mean, Sean, did you in your career ever high five somebody?
No, I've accidentally hit their hand while trying to slap them, but never. Yeah, I didn't even like to do the glove touch before because I've been sucker punched on that. So, like, I had to actually hate the person I was fighting in order to hurt them. So, I didn't ever. I don't want to get that before. So.
What about you, Andy?
I was too nice to hurt people. So.
Andy, do you ever high five anybody?
I high five people. I mean, for a fight though, it's very rare. It's very rare. Yeah, I try not to. Try not to. And
then Bisping. So during the telecast, like, so he was like, "Oh, that wraps it up." You know, thank you, Anaheim, whatever. And I guess he was still on and didn't know it was still rolling. And he goes, like, man, that guy's gay. Like he's
yeah, I know. It was live.
So
was he speaking in the third person?
No, he was not speaking there. He was like calling somebody gay. I'm pretty sure
it was a long pause, so he thought he was off, and then he said he's actually gay after he commented that, and they walked off the screen and they tried to turn it off, but we all heard it.
That's like Kanye calling somebody crazy, like Michael Bisping calling somebody gay.
No, Bisping is not gay. He's got a beautiful wife.
Dude, he's as gay as Dominic Cruz.
No, he is not gay at all. I met his wife. She's gorgeous. And
Mick Jagger was married too.
Listen, Sean, you're in a mood today. Okay.
I haven't hit Bruce Buffer for being gay yet, so I'm holding that one back.
I'm trying to have you on the podcast along so that you could feel better and not jump out the window. So I'm trying to make this as a pleasant experience.
Make no mistake, it'll be someone else going out the window, not me. So like that's
got it.
Did I tell you about the truck driver blowing his horn at me the other day?
Where you got out of the car and threatened to kill him?
Yeah. And he said, there's a cop right over there. I said, get out and see if you can make it to him before I catch you.
Yeah.
And,
my coach is telling me to go in.
Oh, yeah. All right. You just scared our guest away. All right. Listen,
Andy. Sorry.
Andy, where can people watch your fight?
It'll be pay-per-view live on Millions, and it'll be on my page on pawfc.com. You'll be able to see it then. So March 9th, catch me.
Yes, we will catch you. I can't wait. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to know you. Thank you for the beef jerky. And then
you're welcome.
She sends me beef jerky. I think I bought it off her. All right, beef. It was a T-shirt I got and beef jerky. And then she writes, "Hope you think of me when you jerky." And I'm like, my wife's like, who is this? Like, I was like, thank you for fucking.
I want to be you, man. When I grow up, I want to be a comedian sooner or later. So I got to work on that stand up later on.
Stand up is perfect. Good luck in your fight. I'll talk to you soon, Andy.
All right, thank you.
Take care. She's really sweet.
Dude, I thought you were serious when she said she was 60. I was like, I cannot believe that woman's 60.
No.
And we're going to have to start. I was like, they're going to have to start putting some parameters around fighting, man, because you can't have 60-year-old women fighting. You know? So I guess if you can slap each other in the face with no defense at all for TV,
dude,
then I guess you can.
I can't get into that. I can't get into. There's a certain like I used to basically when MMA Roasted started, like I was on like Twitter was like my thing, you know. I was just like bam, bam, bam. And now it's like no one writes any jokes anymore. It's all memes and GIFs and stuff and GIFs and GIFs and GIFs. But it's also like this whole, I don't want to say the culture, but it's just become this like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm all about jokes and pushing boundaries, but it used to be wives and children were out. You don't fuck with somebody's kids. You don't fuck with somebody's wife. That's just which I don't like to do because it's just like, you know, it's like, you know, this one's wife and this one's kid and people that make fun of Brock Lesnar's daughter, you know, because she looks very like, I'm like, I would never make fun of Brock Lesnar's. I don't care what it's his fucking daughter. You know, I'm not gonna make fun of his daughter. She had nothing to do with this. And then so if she looks fucking strong, that's still, you know. Or Ian Gary's a cuck, and this one was molested, and this one is, and I'm just like, dude, I just not, you know, I don't know if it's my age or whatever, but I don't really, and it's a lot of it is not like even with like even with the schmo, like I wasn't the biggest fan of the schmo, but I could definitely respect like the character, you know, and the art form and what he puts into it because it's funny and a lot of talent and it's kind of goofy, but then they just took it to a whole new level, and I just don't really.
He's an arrogant fucker too, man. Like super cocky, like in person, the schmo. Yeah, I thought he was funny at first, and so I actually DM'd him on Twitter. I said, "Dude, I love your stuff." This is when nobody knew who he was, and Dana White was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like when he asked a question in the crowd, you know, Dana didn't know who he was. Said, "Hey man, love it. Like I don't know how you're getting the interviews you're getting, but I admire it, you know, like or whatever. I'm just a hustler, buddy. If you want to learn some stuff, let me know." Blah blah. I was like, "Dude, fuck, you know what I mean, or whatever. I'm more famous than you, you know, or whatever." But he's talking down to me, and then I see him on his regular podcast. He doesn't even have that character or anything, and he thinks he's a genius. But no, I'll smack the shit out of him when I see him.
All he had to do was say thank you. I mean, that's
I was literally saying, I love what you're doing. Like the character, it's hilarious that you keep showing up at every event. Like, because being a former troll myself, I said, dude, you'll make it big if you keep doing that. Yeah, I know. It's like what he said back or whatever. And I was like, dude, I said, okay. So if I see him in person, he's getting confronted on it, and I will slap the shit out of him if he even gives me a sideways look if I go to jail or whatever. But it's, we are, man, it's, you know, I'm in a great mood, but we have an entire generation of sociopaths that the internet and social media has allowed to detach from realizing what they say hurts people's feelings, you know, and like actually hurts people. The advantage I have is I had that happen to me in the underground, and I went to an underground back in the day, the UG group get together, and it was the biggest bunch of retards, incels, and rejects I've ever met in my life. And I was like, I can't believe people are getting criticized by these people and letting it bother them. You know what I mean, or whatever. I've never had a single person that was talking shit to me online take me up on comparing bank accounts, houses, girlfriends, any part of our lives. Just post a picture of yourself. You know what I mean, or whatever, a real one. That's what I tell them, like anything. And it's always some fucking loser who's doing that, which is sad because there's a lot of funny people on the internet. But it's, I mean, it's easy. I've done terrible things to people on the internet that said stuff. I had a guy whose mom had just died, and he wouldn't quit talking shit about me. Like, would not, just kept saying real personal stuff about my kids, about everything on my Facebook page. And then I told him, I sent a message that, hey man, your jokes aren't funny. I'm about to hurt your feelings if you don't stop. This has happened hundreds of times, and everyone ends up crying themselves to sleep. Like, stop. And so he didn't. So I look on his page. I see his mom just died, and I said, hey, tell your mom thanks for coming to my last fight. And I posted a picture of a skeleton in a chair at an MMA fight, or whatever. And then I found out he had been accused of child molestation 12 years ago by looking up his criminal history. So I started spamming that with it, and I sent it to his employer, just this and that. So he ends up begging me to stop. I said, no, you gave me something to do this week. I asked you to stop nicely. You kept at it. I think I told you I'm filing a restraining order this week against these idiots. They've been visited by every three-letter organization you can imagine. They've been swatted. Guess I shouldn't say that online, but they've been everything because they would not leave me alone, threatening me and saying they're coming to get this dog, what I mean, or whatever. So I got a restraining order filed so that I can shoot them when they come to my house. It's just, but anyway, all that to say, people are fucking nuts. I hate this new generation. This AI shit, man. Did you see the thing where they've got Hitler's voice now in English, but it's his voice?
No.
They got Hitler's speeches in English in his voice. AI replicate his voice, but change it to English so you can actually hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
He made some good points. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
no, but I'm just joking. No, it is a creepy new world. They've got fake Joe Rogan quotes. I get suckered every day on flipping through Instagram, and Joe Rogan's like, have you heard about how they found Atlantis in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? And I'm watching this thinking, it's Joe Rogan saying that, or whatever. And I look it up and he never said it. It's just a hoax, but it's his voice saying it. Like we don't even know what's real now, man. You're not going to know.
It's crazy. It used to be like, it didn't matter. It used to be there was a certain thing where like, okay, you may not have to have the most hits or the most views, but there was if your stuff was quality, that's what really counted. Quality,
Right.
And then eventually, that quality would lead to more views. Now people are just like, all right, what's getting hits? And it doesn't matter what it is. So people are going to people and just pranking them or just yelling shit in their faces or sucker punching them or just, how could I say the most obnoxious thing to get a click? And it's like, that's a real dangerous way to go. I'd rather get fucking no views than that's
right.
what you got to do to get views,
There's a group of guys, I think there's something idiots or something, I can't remember what it is, but they go up and they go in the hood, like Harlem, and they'll be like, hey man, you got beef? Like somebody walking by and they'd be like, what? Like, or whatever, and they say, you got a beef? And they have guns pulled on them, and they pull out like beef jerky trying to joke around, and some of the dudes have beat the shit out of them. Like they'd start jumping them, or whatever. And it's like, it's not fake. Like I was like, this has to be fake, but you can't fake getting kicked in the face on camera. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like but people if they haven't died already, they're going to die because people are taking it too far. But we're in a, dude, watch the movie Idiocracy if you haven't seen it. We're living it. We are literally one step away from it. I don't even want to live in this world anymore, man. Like I don't want what's going on with what. No. Dude, with what's going on in the world, I'm like, it's the what's coming is I don't want any part of it. The AI, the insanity, they're going to try to start chipping everybody. They're going to have you. They're trying to now. They're already. I don't want to name an unsuccessful comedian that chose the sex and DNA traits of his baby, but then she had all kind of trouble. An unfunny comedian that we both know. Like he bragged about he was able to pick the sex, the hair color, eye color, like all this different stuff by DNA editing, by paying for it. Like, I don't know. It's a mess, man. It's a disaster. The whole world's a mess.
What comedian did that?
Well, I wouldn't call him a comedian, but he thinks he is. But yeah, it's
who?
Who do you think?
Schaub?
I didn't say that.
All right, but, Don Fry. First of all, I like your haircut. Don, you look good.
Thank you.
So did
you got a little crazy with it.
No, you look good. You look you look younger. Did you go to the fights on Saturday?
No, I did not. They don't know if they're going to cancel my show or what they're going to do. So they didn't have it the last, so I may be out of work here. I don't know.
Did you watch the fights?
Pardon?
Did you watch the fights?
No, I did not. No, I wasn't able to. Able to.
But you know who won, right?
How they go?
Tapura,
no, I don't know anything. No.
Tapura knocked out Volkanovski. Volkanovski just, the whole week he was dressing like an old man and pretending to be old, and then he actually fought old. He kept circling to the guy's power hand, And the whole time I'm looking at my friend at Russell going, he's gonna get knocked out by the right. He's gonna get knocked out by the right. He's going right into the right hand, and then he got knocked out by the right. So that was Tapuro's a new champion. Yeah. And then Henry Cejudo lost. He won the first round, and he just got tired, gassed, and taken down 6 times.
Oh my God.
By Merab. Merab took him down.
No fucking way.
Yeah. Yep. And
how the fuck gold medalists in wrestling get tired?
I don't know. He fired.
Explain that to me.
Well, he fired his wrestling coach, and he hired his brother to be the head trainer. And then he said, "Just kidding."
Oh, okay, there you go.
And then he said, "Just kidding," and then brought his wrestling coach with him. But then Mark Zuckerberg was there. He actually walked out with Volkanovski. I'm not sure what he told him. And then while Merab was beating up Henry, he kept smiling and talking to Zuckerberg. So that was strange. And then Robert Whittaker won. He barely won, but he beat Paul Acosta. And then I mean those were the big ones. Those are the big ones. So there's fights this weekend. You guys want to hear about the fights this weekend?
I'd rather talk about how disappointing the main event of UFC 300 is. I thought that was a joke when I saw it.
Oh yeah, so they announced the main event is Jamal Hill against Alex Pereira.
It's always a good sign when you don't know how to pronounce one of the main eventers' first names, and it's the biggest event in history. That's always when no one knows exactly what his name is. That's always a good sign.
So, by the way, Don, if you missed it, Sean hasn't slept in about 3 weeks. He's having all
Don knows. me and Don have talked. He knows.
He's having all kinds of family problems, all kinds of business problems, and he doesn't want to live. So that's
no, I don't want to live in this world.
Okay.
Coming. Yeah, I don't want to live in the future of the AI world and everything that's coming with it, and the sociopaths and the stupidity. That's I want to go back to 1990. That's what I want.
Okay, so you do want to live though, so that's good.
Yeah, just not in this new world. Not what's coming.
Got it. All right, so this week it's PFL versus Bellator in Saudi Arabia, and Mike Tyson is presenting the belts.
I would have thought they'd pick someone more appropriate, like Mark Zuckerberg to do it. Somebody from the fight game. I'm
going to be in Saudi Arabia, so I'll be at some of these fights. I by the way, I'm calling you. I'm talking to you right now from Cairo, Egypt. We had a show tonight. Which it was
it Cairo or Cairo?
I think it's Cairo.
Yeah, a lot of people call Cairo.
I'm actually gonna go see the pyramids.
A lot of people call it Cairo. Yeah, not everybody.
And Russell got me a watch, by the way, which is really nice.
Did you see the pyramids?
No, I'm going tomorrow. I'm actually going.
Dude, I've wanted to do that my entire life and never will. But yeah, I've been dying to see that my entire life.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. See the pyramids in a couple hours. Because right now it's 2:30. It's 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. So here we go. It's Ryan Bader versus Hanan Fahera in the main event. It's at heavyweight. Hanan Fahera is 6'10", 245 pounds.
Jeez.
He's a big dude. Ryan Bader is moving up to heavyweight. Unfortunately, I think Fahera wins this fight. You guys?
I haven't seen him fight, but I would think so.
Yeah.
Johnny,
that's a lot of size to give up, man.
Johnny Eblin is fighting. He's fighting Impa. Impa's the guy that I told you, like a year ago, he was my friend's personal trainer from boarding school, but not even a fighter. UFC cut him. He ended up winning $1 million this year in the PFL main event. He was in one of those PFL contender series. So he's fighting this guy who's 14-0 and Johnny Eblin. This guy's beating everybody. He's beating Fabian Edwards, who's Leon Edwards' brother. He beat Musasi. He beat Tokov. I think Eblin wins. You guys?
If I knew anything about either of them, I would tell you, man. This sounds more like Bellator versus Bellator or PFL versus PFL. Like I'm not seeing the big names on any of these that I even recognize.
Yoel Romero, you know him?
Yeah, I remember him fighting 20 years ago.
Yeah, he's fighting.
Didn't he fight Don Fry in his last fight in the UFC? Like, isn't that when Yoel Romero started? I think. So.
No, but Don, I'm gonna see the pyramids that you built tomorrow.
Yeah, so. Yoel Romero was like winding his career down when I started training jiu-jitsu. So.
Yeah, Yoel Romero, who has 2 wins over Cael Sanderson. He's fighting Thiago Santos. He's that guy with the big hammer on his chest. Remember, he fought John Jones. He always gets tired after 35 seconds. So this fight, if no one, I mean, I don't know, they're probably gonna both lose by getting tired. But I don't know who wins. Probably Yoel Romero wins this fight.
I'll take the winner. If they get tired in 35 seconds, I can probably go at least that. So that's my record is 45 seconds before I completely gas out the fight. So
Don just left, by the way. AJ McKee is taking on Clay Collard. Clay Collard's a guy who always makes the finals but loses. He was training in his garage during COVID by himself and ended up like beating a couple of guys in pro boxing. AJ McKee, his father is Antonio McKee. He's a prodigy, this kid. He's really good. 18-1. Muhammad Ali's son is fighting. Biagio Ali Walsh. Aaron Pico's.
Can you imagine being Muhammad Ali? Can you imagine being Muhammad Ali fighting your whole life, doing everything he did, making all that money, and your kid wants to get his head bashed in doing the same thing, man? Like, I don't understand it.
I mean, he's pretty good, though. It's actually pretty
even so, it's a bad way to make a living, man. That'd be like somebody that was a multimillionaire by the time they were 28 decided to fight in the UFC, right? Like me.
Man. I feel like you're getting in a better mood, Sean. I feel like your mood's improving. So
not really.
Speaking of bad moods, Justin James is here, by the way. So this guy's the best. So he's a guy, he was in the UFC. He won a couple fights in 30 seconds. He was kicking everyone's ass. He was a wrestling coach, Don Fry. He was doing it all. So his last fight in the UFC, he bet his entire purse on himself, right? And lost.
Was James Krause involved in this at all? That's what I want
to. So
he was not, man.
Okay.
I tell you, Adelaide Bird was though, and that split decision loss.
As far as you know, James Krause wasn't involved.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
So then his wife leaves him, Sean. He ends up.
Yeah, we've all there.
Maybe wanting to become a comedian. Becomes
as soon as the money goes, the wife goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He becomes like a school teacher, right? He loses like 2 or 3 fights in a row. Last week, he wins a fight. He kicks this guy's ass. He submits him. He makes the most inspiring, depressing speech I've ever heard, right? So he's in the cage going, listen, I lost 3 in a row. My wife
Five
in a row. My wife left me.
Girlfriend.
I was homeless. I lost all my money. I got no pussy. No one believed in me. It just kept going for like 10 more minutes. Like my kids won't talk to me. Everyone says I'm a loser. My grandfather died. It kept going. But then he's like, but I believed in myself and I won. It kind of went viral. So congrats on the win, Justin.
I think it feels good to be back on the right track for a change, man. I had some hardships to go through, some adversity, but we're back, man, and hopefully back in the UFC by the end of 2024.
Yeah.
Can I just tell Justin that he can't steal my life story and then make it his own and then say things have turned around? Because all that happened to me, but things didn't turn around. So,
they haven't officially turned around yet. You know, I just won 1 fight, which really doesn't mean anything on the regional scene, but hopefully in the next year or so, I win a couple more and start making some money again.
Yeah.
Well, you look great doing it. Why did your wife leave you?
It's my girlfriend. We just it was it's just bad circumstance, man. Just bad circumstance.
But I mean, you're such a good guy.
I can tell you why, Adam.
Why?
I can tell you exactly why. She thought she had a chance to upgrade even 1%, because that's what everyone does. Every single one, if they think they can, even 1%. If there's a bag of chips involved in the exact same lifestyle, gone. 20 years, doesn't matter.
Yep. I definitely agree with you. I feel that had something to do with it, Mr. Fry. I can hear you laughing, man. Can you relate?
Yeah, true.
Hell yeah. Fucking legend.
Now, Justin. So you lost 5 in a row, but you're a great fighter. Was it just bad matchmaking? Was it bad camps or?
Honestly, so I won my UFC debut. Then I had a short notice fight down at one. I never made featherweight before. I'm not making an excuse. I had a short notice fight, 3-week notice to fight Gavin Tucker. At the time, Gavin was on a tear. I knocked him down in the first round. Had him choked down in the first round. I don't know if you saw the fight, but his pants came off. Like his fight shorts came off to his ankles. And it's like, goddamn, dude, like why can I not catch a break? Like, I'll send you the clip after. I have this guillotine cinched. I can hear him gurgling for air, and he starts kicking and bucking. His pants fall down to his ankles. I lose my grip. He survives, and then he ends up finishing me late in the 3rd round. I gassed out. Next fight after that, another 2-week notice fight against Gabriel Benitez. Just wasn't in shape, man. And then Sean Shelby called me on Wednesday, and he's like, "Hey, you want to fight this week?" I'm like, "I haven't been training. I'm dealing with injury." And essentially what he said, he didn't say this exactly, but what my manager told me is, if you don't take this fight, the UFC is going to cut you. I'm like, God damn, man. Like, I haven't been training for 2 or 3 months. I had an injury. I fucking take the fight. That's when I got my eyes swollen shut. I remember you made a run about it. Then finally I get a fight Charles Rosa. I got a full camp. Tough dude. I lose a split decision. I end up rocking him a couple times in the first round. The 3rd round, Adelaide Bird scored at 30-27 for him. I think she's as crooked comes. And, unfortunately lost 25 grand in that fight and my UFC contract, man. And I had a neck injury in that fight. I had to get neck surgery. I had to recover that for a year. Took another fight on another UFC vet I took on. I lost the decision. Thought it was going to be done, man, after I had neck surgery, and the rehab through that was fucking tough, dude. Like I said, it was a whole year. I finally got back in there, and as you saw last weekend, I was able to put some hands on Carson Hardman, felt myself again, and at 34 years old, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do, and see if I can keep making chicken salad out of chicken shit. But we'll see how long I can do this for.
You're young, man. You're young. I mean, 34 is not old at all.
At 20, I had 77 MMA fights, man. 27 pro fights, 50 amateur fights. I'm ready to start. I'm ready to get a big boy job and start making some real money and get ready for my retirement.
Don, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good luck. I hope it happens, man. I really do.
Hey, man, just keep throwing enough shit at the wall. Something is bound to work out eventually, right?
Absolutely. You can't win if you don't play, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, are you still coaching at Extreme Couture?
Yeah, I run the wrestling program at Extreme Couture right now. It's Monday through Thursday. Hopefully, one of these days when you're in town doing a gig, you can roll in at them. We have a bunch of killers coming up right now, a bunch of guys with fights on the line. Obviously I've been coaching there since 2009. No matter what I end up doing, I always continue to do that. I'm in love with wrestling. I'm in love with the whole grind and the sport. And, once I do retire from competing, I'll take over full-time coaching. As for now though, man, I want to compete next to my athletes, try and raise them to the highest bar I can get them to. And, I just had Zion Trujillo. I've been coaching him since he was 6 years old. He just won a 2nd state championship in Nevada. He took 2nd as a freshman, 1 as a sophomore, 1 as a junior. And as a high school coach, I'm sure you can understand how tough that is to do. And he's a freaking stud, man. He has 1 more year to go. He wants to place in the top 5 in Fargo this year. So right now we're training for that. He just won a state championship a couple days ago. He's probably gonna take today and tomorrow off, and we're right back to the grind on Wednesday.
That's awesome. No, I know there was a kid I coached in middle school. I got him wrestling 6th, 7th, and 8th, and he finally, senior year, like got out of his head and allowed himself to wrestle, because he was one of these kids, Don, that like whatever he would see the other kid was ranked, it would totally throw him off. Like if he didn't know the guy was ranked, he would run through him. But if he sees that guy has this kid's ranked number 14 in the state, then it's like he gives himself an excuse to lose to him.
Absolutely.
To the point where we had to tell them, don't let him look at the brackets. But of course he would look at the brackets. So yeah, I'm super happy for you, man. Did you train Marab for the fight?
No, I didn't train Rob. He didn't train at Extreme Couture for this fight. I've just had the pleasure of working with him throughout the years. Him and Aljo have put in a lot of work at Extreme Couture. It's actually funny. Last time I saw Marab, I had my son was 12 or 13 at the time. I told him, I'll give you $100 if you go tell them that you don't think he's a very good fighter. My 12-year-old, 13-year-old, he's a big kid. He's like 5 foot at the time. He's like 5'6", 150 pounds. Walks up to him. He like does this to him. He's like, bro, I don't think you're that good. And Rob just looks at him. He goes, how old are you, bro? Like 6? And I ended up having to intervene before he got his ass whipped. But hey, I just showed my son had a little balls there to go up to Rob and Sam. But what an incredible performance, man. I'm such a big Henry Cejudo fan. His wrestling credentials speak for themselves. Guy's an Olympic champion. He's been the UFC featherweight champion. He's been the bantamweight champion. From Rob to go in and do what he did to him, really put a statement on that weight class. And I can't wait to see him fight Sean O'Malley for the title.
Now that made Don physically ill. The fact that Henry got taken down like 4 or 5 times. I mean, Don, is that just overlooking the other guys wrestling?
Yeah, it's just reading your own press clippings, and buying your own bullshit and not training hard enough. I mean, you get surrounded by yes men who won't push you, and then you end up eating a pile of shit.
Sure.
That ever happened to you?
Dude, it happens all the time, man. That's the one thing, man, in this sport. There's so many yes men. Everyone wants to tell you how great you are. But, at the end of the day, wrestling, I've learned throughout the years, and I'm sure you guys can agree, is a perishable skill, man. If you're not working on that craft, even if as an Olympic champion, even as, I wrestled in college for 4 years, I didn't really do great, but I still wrestled for 4 years. If I'm not in the room grinding over 6 months, dude, I mean, my wrestling will go to shit and I'll start getting taken down by other college guys. So, I think Henry probably just relied on his experience in wrestling. But if you're not in the room grinding every day, it's a perishable skill to say the least.
Meanwhile, Don he was 4th on the Olympic trials, and he goes, I fucking sucked. Like he won't. I could never tell him how good of a wrestler was. Oh shit! Who gives a shit about 4th? Like every time
means nothing. Means absolutely nothing.
You're the first or last, baby. Shake and bake.
Now, I don't know. In the main event, it seemed like Volkanovski kept circling to the guy's right hand. Am I crazy? But it did like was only a matter of time. I'm watching and going, he's gonna get knocked out. He's gonna get knocked out. He's gonna get knocked out. I mean, could you see that coming too?
Honestly, coming back, I mean, his last 2 fights, he fought the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world twice in a row, getting knocked out the second one on short notice. I'm a big theory on whether he's circling left or right, man. When your brain gets turned off, it's easier to turn it off the next time. And, at the end of the day, man, when you got someone like Ilya Topuria in there throwing as fast as hard punches as he is, all he needs to do is land one, man. And Volkanovski, like a man after the fight said it, goes, that guy hits hard, and he only needs to land one punch to knock people out. And unfortunately for Volk, I'm a huge Volk fan. Everything he's done in the sport, man, beating Max Holloway 3 times, going up a weight class, fighting the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world twice, beating Brian Ortega, beating Yair Rodriguez, man. This guy's a fucking legend, man. And, unfortunately, at the end of the day, Ilya Topuria is 27 years old. Volkanovski's 35, man, with a lot of miles. I wanted Volk to win, but my pocketbook said Ilya all the way.
You really know your shit, by the way. Holy cow.
I do another podcast called the 10-7, and we review all these fights Monday and Friday really in depth. So yeah, I have a pretty good inkling about it.
Yeah, well, this podcast, I'm like, Don, you watch the fights? There were fights? And then I go, what did you think? These guys are pussies.
Dude, Don Fry, let me just tell you, you're a legend in that we met, 10 years ago at a fight card. You had this cowboy hat on, and a guy I was with walked up. He was like, oh my God, you're Don Fry. I love that fight with you and so-and-so. And you look at him, he goes, I never fought that son of a bitch. You must be one dumb son of a bitch. And you just walked away. And I was like, damn, Fry's a legend. He's a fucking legend. And we have a picture of me, you, and him. And we always share it every year and be like, hey, remember when Don Fry called you a dumb son of a bitch? It was fucking legendary, dude.
Anybody, dude, for the MMA awards, anyone that ever, I'm like, hey, can you talk to Don? They always call me back and go, how was it? That guy called me a sissy and told me to take my tampon out. Like,
yes.
Like,
dude, Don Fry's the original gangster, man. When to hear his name and see that I'm even on a podcast with him is legendary, man. Like, yeah, that fight was like, it was. I think it was the Strike Force fight. It was Ryan Couture's fight for Strike Force back in like 2012 or something. And I remember he's like, I never fought that guy, you dumb son of a bitch, and you just walked away. I was like, oh, that's fucking legendary.
That's me making friends.
Yeah, that's right.
My
That's
wife
right.
loves you. My wife thinks he's the funniest. My wife laughs at everything he does. And she doesn't like fighting, doesn't like my friends usually, but she loves Don Fry. Very
How anybody couldn't.
Oh yeah. So this week, Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval. So Don, so Moreno was the champion. He was the guy that was picked last in the Ultimate Fighter, and then won it. And then I don't know, he didn't win the Ultimate Fighter, but he came back and he won the belt. Kid's a savage, absolute savage. Brandon Royval also a savage. Got fucked up his last fight though against Pantoja, but this should be a good fight. It's in Mexico. I think they're both Mexican, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I believe you're right.
But Moreno is not Mexican for something. Like he actually lives in Mexico. The other guy lives in Colorado. I don't know who wins this fight. Justin, who do you think wins this fight?
Dude, let me tell you about Brandon Moreno. I've had the pleasure of training with this guy. This guy is a fucking savage on and off the mat. And honestly, I think this fight's going to come down to who works harder. And having Brandon Moreno, knowing that he's going to have a fight in Mexico, his family's going to be there. He's going to be the hometown favorite. He's the bigger star of the two fighters. And I can't go against this guy. This guy got cut from the UFC early in his career. He vowed he'd come back and win the belt. Not only did he come back, he won the belt just like he said he was going to. Dude, I don't think anybody's going to be able to match his work ethic, and this guy isn't a fiercely athletic dude. When we talk about athleticism, like could go play football or could be a collegiate wrestler. He doesn't have those traits. He's just a normal guy that works his fucking ass off day in and day out. He comes into the gym, motherfucker plays with Legos in between training sessions. I don't know if you know that. Like he's a big Lego fanatic. He loves building Legos. Like this is the kid you want. This is the guy you want your kids to look up to. Don Fry, how do you feel about him playing with Legos in between training sessions?
That's a new one on me, partner. I've never heard that one.
He collects Legos and he builds them. If you see, after he gets his bonuses in the UFC, he goes to the Lego store and he buys all these fucking crazy Legos. And yeah, dude, I mean, he's a kid that you want your son to grow up to be like. He works his ass off. He deserves every accomplishment, all the success he gets. And it's hard for me to ever go against a guy that works that hard.
Sounds like he has autism.
Hey, I mean, he fights for a living, man. Come on. What do you think he does?
It'll be funny if, like, in between rounds, he was building Legos, like actually during the fight. That would be pretty legendary.
That'd be pretty legendary. Hey, Demetrius Johnson, I guess was in, I guess he's a famous video game player. Like he goes when he fought Henry Cejudo the first time, like he was in the middle of a game. He told his boys like, hey, I'll be back in an hour, goes, fights, beats Henry Cejudo, comes back and finishes his game. Like that's just legendary. That's fucking crazy shit.
So Don, you like Royval or Moreno?
I go Moreno.
Yeah.
I like watching him fight. I think he always does a good fight. And he's a cardio machine, and the guy's got great talent.
So Ortega versus Rodriguez. This should be an interesting fight. Ortega's taken a long time off. The women he's hooked up with Halle Berry, Tracy Cortez. I mean, it just keeps going. It's not fair.
I'm jealous.
It's not. He's fighting Rodriguez, who seems to always lose in the big fights, like in the main event fights. This guy's, but I mean, he fights like Volkanovski or whatever. I think he beats Ortega because it's not for the main event. It seems like he just can't get over that hump, and I don't know how Ortega takes long layoffs. Justin.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's had a long layoff, and Volk kind of put it. Ortega has taken some ass whoopings. Max Holloway put it on him a couple of years ago. Volkanovski had him in deep trouble with that guillotine choke, and Volk was able to get out and end up beating his ass. It just really depends on where his head at. And I'll be 100% honest, when you're getting that good ass pussy all the time, I mean, he's getting tens, bro. He's not picking up fat girls at the bar like you and me. Like he is picking up tens. We're talking Halle Berry, Tracy Cortez. We're talking about some of the most beautiful people in the world. Like that has to be some kind of sidetrack. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to try and find some pigs and some slop that I can forget about. And
I've seen you come to my shows with your girlfriends. They're fucking smoke shows.
Yeah, but I usually pay them good to go with me, so I look good. Yeah. And you know what? Once they leave, I got to go find a pig and slop at the bar somewhere. So, I tell you what. I'm just fucking around, but dude, I mean, seriously though, like, dude, that stuff's a distraction, man. And let's see if Brian Ortega, and coming back from losses, man, is tough. The more you lose, the easier losing becomes in wrestling, whether it's MMA, anything like the sort, man. Brian Ortega's a really tough dude. It's just really going to show who's going to show up. Is he going to be remotivated and refocused, or is he just going to try and go through the motions? Because if he goes through the motions, he's going to find himself in a heap of trouble.
Don?
Yeah, that's a good call. I'm a big Ortega. I like watching Ortega. I'm a big Ortega fan, but when you're getting that kind of quality ass, jeez Louise, why? What are you concentrating on?
Yeah, exactly.
And then Raul Rosas Jr. He's the kid that they signed him when he was 16, I think, and or 17, like real young. He had a couple fights in Mexico, which I don't even think were legal. And the UFC signed him. He ended up getting the shipping out of him a second fight, but last fight he looked great. Granted, they put in a guy that like is an expert at getting knocked out. Like that guy was just waiting to get hit. But I don't know. Have you trained with this guy?
I haven't personally one-on-one trained with him, but he has been at the gym. He works with Eric Nixicalak. Me and Eric are real close. I've watched him hit mitts. Again, this guy has a bright future ahead of him. I think the UFC just has to give him some good matchups right now. They got to build this kid. He's talking about how he should be in contention by the time he's 20 years old. Take the Sean O'Malley approach. Take easy fights, get better, grow into yourself. The kid's 17 years old. His balls haven't even dropped, or 18 years old. His balls haven't even dropped all the way, man. Like, this kid has a bright future ahead of him. What I'd hate to happen is if he gets that Mexican mentality where he wants to go in guns blazing so early, take damage 18, 19, 20 years old, and by the time he's 24, he's already washed up. You see it in traditional Muay Thai all the time in Thailand where these kids are fighting at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, full kickboxing. By the time they're 20 years old, they're so washed up they can't hardly. I'm not saying every instance, but a lot of instances, they're fighting so young, they're taking so much damage so early. I'd hate to see this because I really believe this kid is athletic. I really believe he has the future. But I'm hoping his management, the UFC, and he takes care of himself, makes the right decisions going forward in the next couple of years.
Well, he's fighting Ricky Turcios, who's actually good. He's 11-3. He beat Kevin Natividad, who's a good fighter. He beat Brady Hestad, also a good fighter. Lost to Boston Salmon. That was in 2017. He lost to Ayman Zahaba. But this kid's good. I've seen this guy fight before.
Ricky Turcios?
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about a 30-year-old versus a 19-year-old. The guy has 3 losses on his belt, man. The UFC isn't going to set this kid up because he's so young. They do want him to get some wins. They do want him to get momentum. Right now, I feel like the UFC is looking for star power. They're throwing a whole bunch of shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Right now, Sean Strickland sticks right now, even though he just lost. This kid has the opportunity. I don't really care for him on the mic. I think he really needs to get a coach on how to talk on the mic because for me, a fan's perspective, I don't relate to the fighter in the fight. I relate to him on the mic. And right now, I think he's pretty terrible on the mic. I really think the UFC needs to invest some time into him and get him in good on the mic. Give him a couple tomato cans that they can knock out, get a little hype behind him, and try and build him that way.
Now, what's Strickland like in training at the gym?
Strickland is in training. He is exactly like he is on the mic. He's outspoken. If he doesn't like you, he's going to tell you. If he doesn't like the shirt you're wearing, he's going to tell you. It's just, Sean is Sean, man. And, people think it's an act like Colby Covington, but it is not an act. You meet Sean, if you're wearing dude, this guy goes on to meet a friend of mine wants to meet Sean Strickland. He came to the gym wearing a pink shirt. I'm like, bro, you cannot wear that shirt and meet Sean Strickland. He will ridicule you and he'll probably challenge you for a fight, call you a faggot, and all of the above. He doesn't even know who you are, and he's still going to, because he's genuine in what he says. He believes what he says. Nothing's fake about it. He's just, for some people, he's just a little too brash. For me, I fucking love it, dude. I make fun of anybody you want, man. And, I just stay out of his way. I see Sean in the gym. I'll wave to him, and I don't say much more than that because I don't want to get in that crossfire.
Were you there when he fought that streamer recently?
Dude, it happens all the time. He did like a 2-on-1 match a couple months ago with like Chris Kurz and Zach Trusola. Like, he's always doing crazy shit, man. And, when you're talking when he fought Sneeko. No, that was at the PI. I wasn't there for that, but I saw the video, and Sean, and everyone's criticizing, like, dude, why'd you have to beat him up so bad? He's a YouTuber. And Sean's his what he had to say about it was very spot on. He said, if I spar another professional fighter, I have a mutual respect for that fighter. That guy's been through the grind. He's been punched in the face. But these motherfuckers that want to talk shit online about how they could, Monday night quarterback in MMA and, they could do this, they could do it. I need to put a stamp on their forehead with my fist to show them you cannot do this. This is not for you. And you know what? After he said that, I was like, dude, that makes sense, because if Sean goes in there and takes it easy on him and they go 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever the round is, the kid's going to be like, dude, I just went with the best fighter in the world. I stood my ground and I did this and that. Oh, he did, got his fucking ass whipped. And had it went any longer, he would have been fucking killed. I really think the perspective civilians need to understand how good us fighters are. I get guys all the time that, you lost 5 fights in a row, you fucking suck, I'd beat your ass. All right, show up, motherfucker. And when these guys do show up, which it doesn't happen often, it's only happened for me 2 or 3 times, I make sure to let them know that they're never coming back to that gym again, because I'm gonna fuck them up and let them know. It's like, dude, you're a comedian, bro. Let me tell you, you suck as a comedian. I could probably do better. All right, get on stage in front of fucking 1,000 people and start cracking jokes, motherfucker. It's not
That's what happened with Roy Nelson.
MMA, I feel the same thing.
Roy Nelson was like, "You're not funny. I'm funny." So I said, "All right, Roy. Tomorrow night, I'll let you open up for me, and we'll see how good you do." And he didn't show up, but
of course he didn't, man. And that's what happens to all these guys online. Oh, I'm such a good fighter. I'd knock you out. Show up, motherfucker. I will give this. So Chris Cale, lead singer and guitar player for Five Finger Death Punch, just got up and did his first comedy set, man. And I don't know if you happened to witness it, but it went fucking great. It was like a 5 or 10 minute set. But dude, this guy's the up and coming guy, man. Better watch out. He's coming for your job, dude. He's doing. He's friends with Gabe Lopez at the Dirty at 12:30. Awesome. I'm sure you're familiar with him. And did you see the set?
I didn't see the set, but I love Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, shit.
Dude, yeah, he's great, man. So next time you're in town, dude, I'd love to introduce you, man. He's a fucking really good dude, really good kickboxer as well.
Don, how did your Art Jimerson thing go?
My what?
The Art Jimerson interview.
Oh, it was kind of slow. It had a lot of. It didn't have a lot of impact on it. I don't think anybody hit their stride. Yeah, the questions weren't good and the answers weren't good. It just wasn't there.
You guys, so I don't know if you know that. So Don Fry and Dan Severn have a podcast called Toxic Masculinity. And they interview all the legends, like any legend you want. But Don, are you going to get the Trump sneakers?
I don't know. I've been thinking about that. I just don't know where I'd wear them at. If he had Trump cowboy boots, well, then I'd definitely get a pair.
Somebody bought them for $400 and resold them for $2,500 already.
God,
really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But
that's capitalism, baby. That's what makes America great.
You're right. Trump cowboy boots would have sold way better.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're absolutely right. I think you're onto something. All right. So, Justin, what do you got coming up?
Hey, so I was supposed to fight David Gardner on March 15th. I just heard he pulled out. I heard he saw my last fight and was like, I don't want that. We're talking about a guy that's had 40 professional fights. Unfortunately, right now I'm not booked. I'm looking to do an international wrestling tournament in Spain in June. That's all I have booked right now, man. I'm doing a lot of commentary. I run a podcast called the 10-7 on Monday, Friday at 1:30. And dude, I'm just here. I'm training. I got to go train. I got wrestling at 5 o'clock. Man, I'm just trying to stay ready, man. I'm an old guy. I'm 34 years old. I've had 77 MMA fights. Dude, I just want to, just keep trying. Dude, I know my career's coming to an end relatively soon. I'd love to get back to the UFC and, really do what I can do, man. I just want to inspire some people, young kids like my son to, no matter how bad it gets, it gets bad sometimes, man. And I know both of you guys have went through probably some shit times in your life. And I mean, you're fucking one of the top comedians that I know right now. Don Fry, I can't even believe I'm on a podcast with him. What a fucking legend. And, just got to keep persevering and, setting the example for the upcoming generation.
No, man, I'm in Egypt right now, and
I'm
doing shows with Russell Peters. We're doing 7,000, 8,000 seat theaters. I'm literally doing this podcast.
He's parking camels.
I'm literally doing comedy right now. We're staying at the St. Regis tomorrow, and it's just been rolling in Rolls Royces. But 2 weeks ago, I was at the Motel 6 in Arkansas in front of 27 people. So it's all, and then in 2 weeks I'll be on a cruise ship, but it's all peaks and valleys, man. But
yes, sir.
Peaks and valleys, but it goes up,
Yes, sir.
So as long as you're in it, that's really all that matters. And you are a huge inspiration to your son. And Don, you're one of my favorite people in the world. You know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don, what do you got coming up?
What's your name again, boy?
Thank you.
Justin James.
I think he's talking to me. Don, what do you got coming up?
Oh hell, what do I have coming up? Shit, trying to get the keep that show going. Tea and whiskey. They don't know if they're going to cancel it or keep it, so that's bad news. That and the next fight, looking. When is 300? I can't get the dial. Is that April or May or?
It's April. I think it's like yeah. So the next one is the O'Malley one. O'Malley, that's $299. That's a good card. And then 300 is I don't even know. Now it's Pereira against Hill for the main event. But Bo Nichols on that card, and I think Kayla Harrison's on the card.
Fighting Cyborg.
It's not fighting Cyborg.
Justin Gage. Yeah, she's fighting Cyborg. Kayla, or not Cyborg. Holly Holm.
Yeah, Holly Holm. Yeah.
And then Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. That's gonna be a great fight. Co-main. I think that's gonna be a fucking banger, man. I think that should be the main event. I mean, I'm a big Jamal Hill fan. We're both from Michigan. We both grew up, on the regional scene in Michigan. Actually, Dan Severin, your podcast, I went to college with his son. Dan came through a bunch when his son was a freshman in college. I was a senior. We went to Olivet College, wrestled out there near Coldwater. But yeah, dude, I'm looking for that Justin Gaethje fight is going to be fucking killer, man. I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
Gaethje's always put on a good show. I mean, it's something you don't want to miss.
You don't want to blink when that guy's fighting, man. And Max Holloway, with how precise he is, I'm going to have to edge out Gaethje here just because he's going to be bigger. He's going to be stronger. I saw what Dustin Poirier did Dustin Poirier did to Holloway, and I think it's going to be similar. But, man, Max Holloway's a fucking legend, arguably one of the best featherweights to ever do it in the sport. Right. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
there's a guy that's been helping out. There's a guy from Michigan that's been helping out the wrestling team that I started called the guy Dan Yates. You know Dan Yates?
Yeah, I know Dan Yates. We went to college together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Dan Yates, I believe, unless I'm mixing his name with somebody else, I think he went to Olivet College with me.
He was like, no, I think he went to Michigan, right?
Maybe I'm just thinking of his name but I'm familiar with the name for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, you guys are the best. I hope you guys have a great week, and thanks a lot. Thank you guys for everything.
Hey, thanks for your time. Don, take it easy, brother.
Hope your life gets better, buddy.
Hey, we're always on the up and up, brother. We're always on the up and up.
Take care, guys.
Good luck.
All right, see you guys.